Okay, thanks. So today we are going to talk about a very important topic, which is, interplay of. I can only see you. Can you hear me, Deepthi? I'm not sure if she can hear me. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a very important topic, and which is related to interplay of your hormones and your nervous system regulation, stress, and subconscious mind. So I'm sorry if I'm looking at two cameras right now. I'm trying to live stream on Instagram and on Facebook at the same time. I was trying a new app and somehow it just didn't work. So I'm using two different gadgets now. Okay, so do drop in a hi and let me know where you're joining from. And I can see a few people are already joining. That's great. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Subhakshi Ravla. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, a metabolic balance coach, a perimenopause and a menopause coach, and Reiki master practitioner and founder for Nutrify Me. I believe that we all need more and more support as women during perimenopause and menopause. I myself is going through that phase, and I realize how important it is to have a support system, to have a complete knowledge of what's happening with us. I'm still learning in this phase. This is all, whenever I do these live, this helps me to also learn and understand much better about this phase. So today I am going to invite a special guest who would be Valerie Batten. She is an NLP practitioner. She's a clinical hypnotherapist, and she is also a great lady. So I'm going to invite her to the stage. Just a second.
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
Good.
So
Just
I was
curious,
so
did anybody comment about Facebook? If anybody's live on Facebook?
yes, there are people who are live on Facebook.
Perfect.
There are people who are live on
Wonderful.
Instagram. There was a small glitch that happened. The streaming app, I don't know what, it stopped working for YouTube and Instagram. So I'm using two gadgets now, my phone and my laptop.
Multitasking. Got it.
We were talking about it
Hey,
today itself, how it's going to be. So thank you so much, Valerie, coming
my
here.
pleasure.
I'm so excited, and I really want to learn so much from you today. And just tell the viewers something about yourself, like what do you do, and yeah.
Sure. Well, I appreciate the time. I always joke when I start, I always tell everybody, thank you for letting me talk about this. Because now every time I say the word brain at home, my kids give me the biggest eye roll. So anytime I can talk about this, I am so happy. So my background, so I used to work as an HR director, HR executive for the longest time. And throughout sort of, life happening, it guided me to what I'm doing today. So it's really working on the subconscious. And the subconscious is such an extraordinary thing. And all of that work led me to open up my own hypnotherapy clinic. And the coolest thing about this is I'm one of the top 10 in Canada, my clinic. So I'm really proud of that. And I've seen so many people come through with things like anxiety, things like just stress, not being able to sleep, to different habits. Basically, anything that is subconscious, anything that is automatic, um, can be dealt with through hypnosis. So, really, the sky is the limit. And I know that ladies going through perimenopause and menopause, they run the whole gamut of stuff that is loaded onto them. So I'm happy that I'm able to talk about this because there's so many things that hypnosis can be used for.
That's amazing. I
to do
think
with it.
Valerie, you are not there on the Instagram. It's going live on Facebook, but I don't see you on Instagram. Can you join as a guest on Instagram? Can you check that?
Let me have a look here. It's interesting because when I go on Facebook, it tells me the video is not live on Facebook.
Oh, really?
That's
Because
so
on
bizarre.
my end, on my Facebook, it's going live. Probably it's not streaming to your Facebook directly. That's what it's happening.
Well, when I enter the event, it doesn't let me. So that's why I was just curious, but that's all good.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, guys. Give us 2 minutes. Maybe I can
Under
invite.
pressure, how we react under pressure, right? Okay. Uh,
Okay. Should I
uh,
invite your I am Valerie button? That link that I should I invite that?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
let's do that.
Yeah. I've done that.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. That's fine.
Just see. Did you receive?
Let's see here. Yes.
And I think you have to do a request to join or something.
Um,
Are you there?
Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Yeah. We are
Yeah,
learning.
I'm
Okay? We women
here.
are still learning.
Hmm. 2 seconds here. My internet today has been angry with me, so I'm just gonna hop out of my internet here and just go on data here. So hopefully this will work.
So in the meantime that Valerie is joining us,
There we go.
tell us something very interesting. Oh, I can see you. Great.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to do it on my phone, so it's all good.
Yeah. So, sorry. Yeah. I have to kind of hold the phone so that I'm able to log in and post. Okay. I think now, okay, Instagram followers, can you give us a thumbs up and tell us that can you hear me and Valerie both? Just a thumbs up would do. I can see Paro, you've joined. She's my friend from Singapore.
So if I speak on Facebook, are you able to hear me on Instagram?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I just
Good,
got a
good.
thumbs up. Okay. Thanks, Parnika. Okay.
Well,
So
thanks everybody for helping us learn this.
I know. I'm still going to go back and look at the software again. This seemed to be pretty interesting where it said that I can go live on YouTube also at the same time. But when I clicked go live, it just started asking me for random payments. And I was like, okay, let me just start it. And then probably next time I'm going to work on it again.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all good. We're here. We got it.
Yeah. So, as I was telling that I've invited Valerie here. She's a clinical hypnotherapist. And you know what, Valerie, what I have realized is there's something, very interesting. We women, as we go into perimenopause and menopause, and there is so much of science behind it that, our hormones are changing, estrogen and progesterone. There's so much which is changing in us, which is scientifically impacting us. But there's also one very important factor, which actually, when I was sitting today and I was reading something, and I realized that we women, the stage, like in 40s and 50s, we've lived for a very long time and we carry a lot of emotional burden on us. That burden of holding families together, your kids are growing up, their pressures, our parents are getting old, worries about those things. And of course, the changes which we are seeing in our body. So it's a cumulative effect of so many things together that we kind of start feeling very lost in this whole transition.
Mhm.
So, what do you have to say about stress and this feeling of lost? How
Mhm.
would you address this through your clinical therapy, like hypnotherapy? How would you address
Mhm.
it?
Yeah, so I'd like to say that the feelings of stress and anxiety, it's nothing new. It's just magnified. Um, sort of as we get older sometimes, and especially during this perimenopause and menopause. For some people, it actually can show up out of the blue, or it could be something that they were dealing with when they were younger. They were okay for a while, and then it resurfaces. So it's very different for most people.
Mhm.
But through this work, it really focuses on like a number of things. So typically, when somebody comes to my clinic and they have like in general issues with anxiety, I work with them to figure out what could it possibly be. Is it something that was re-triggered from before? A lot of times we carry things from childhood that it we think we're okay. The amount of times, if I had a dollar for every time someone said, "Oh, my childhood was fine," I'd be a multimillionaire. Because there's so many things, and it doesn't have to be anything traumatic. It doesn't have to be anything tragic for it to make an impact on you. And just to back up a little bit to give this context. So, aside from obviously the hormones and everything like that you spoke about, I always tell everyone your subconscious mind is like a journal, or yeah, it's like a journal. And ever since you were born, some people believe that the journal was there even before you were born in your mother's womb. There's a whole epigenetic piece on that. But the actual journal of our subconscious mind, we're entering things into it as we get older. So we live with something that's called we have a lot of like events that happen for the very first time in our life, right? So the very first time after we're born and we cry, um, we make a note in our mind in that journal. If I cry, somebody will come to see if I'm okay. Or if I fall, somebody is going to just not pay attention to me. And it's all of these little things that accumulate throughout our life. But that what is entered into that journal when we're kids, we go through our life then almost like with that confirmation bias. So if we see a relationship at home where, mom does everything for dad and mom sort of doesn't look after herself, and dad is always on edge, or it could be vice versa, it doesn't matter, then the child might grow up being hypervigilant, right? And always like people pleasing and all of these things. And so as we go through our life, this might be technical, so apologies for everybody, but
Okay.
um, there won't be a test at the end of this, I promise. There's something in our brain called the reticular activating system, and that is like a scanner. And what that does is it takes whatever that event was that we when that very first journal entry, which is the initial sensitizing event, is what it's called. And it takes that and it scans your environment to confirm what it is that it thinks you believe. So, for example, if I grow up in a household where there's things are on edge and I have to be careful to see if my parents are in a mood, or because kids pick this up. They look at, should I talk today? Should I be more quiet? That hypervigilance. As I grow up, I'm going to be looking at teachers, friends, my partner, and carrying that hypervigilance with me. Now, it's not the case for everybody, but for the most part, this is how it works. And what happens is you then confirm what you believe. So, for example, even if it's not fully 100% accurate what you're seeing, it's your perception. So, whether or not you believe that people can't be trusted or I can only rely on myself, you might give meaning to things that happen. Like if somebody disappoints you, for example, instead of someone looking at it and saying, okay, well, clearly they have something going on, it's not a fit for me. Someone who might be looking at this through the lens of that, that hypervigilance or the people can't be trusted, they'll look at it and say, huh, I knew it. Next time I'll do this on my own, or whatever. And so we carry this. And when we hit the perimenopause and menopause, certain things might resurface. And when I work with people that are dealing with this, it could be anything from that anxiety again. Certain things might be heightened by hormones. They're a pain in the butt. I think we can all agree on that if they're not managed, and if they just are, they make it interesting for us. Um, but it's things like sleep and, nervousness and being a little bit more on edge sometimes, or even things like hot flashes and our tolerance to things. Um, all of that is subconscious and automatic programming. And so through the tools that I use in my clinic, there's a lot of tools that it's not just hypnosis. It's not just having someone relax and me talking at them. It's it's a lot of tools like one of my favorites is one that's called an anchor, and that is amazing for people who struggle with anxiety, fears, not being able to relax, like all sorts of things. And what that is in hypnosis, which is really just a deep level of relaxation, you get into that state almost like as if you were going to fall asleep. And in that state, I get you to go in your mind, in your mind's eye, into a place of relax and calm. And maybe it's a past memory, something you've experienced where you felt really good and in control. Um, or maybe it's, the scene of a movie or something like that. And, or it could be something your mind just creates for you, it doesn't matter. The main thing is those emotions. And so when you get into that emotional state, I get you to do a body movement. So I get a lot of people to like rub their fingers together, just because it's easy. You don't have to explain to people while you're doing it. Just put it in your pocket or under the table. And you do this, and what that creates in that moment is it creates new neural pathways in your brain so that the next time, if you need to calm yourself or your mind is racing when you go to sleep or anything like that, you just, take a deep breath and then rub your fingers together. And that almost like flips a switch in your brain and it brings you back into calm or control or whatever it is that we were working on. So that's just one of the things. That
Okay.
was a very long explanation, I know.
What I understand when I put it in a scientific term is
Mhm.
that when you do anchoring during your hypnotherapy session, we are able to move our nervous system from fight or flight to calm and rest and digest mode. Am I correct?
Correct. Yep.
So this can also help to bring down our cortisol levels also, because during this transitional phase when hormones are all over the place, cortisol is one thing which keep going up, like it
Hmm.
doesn't come down. And that is why our sleep is dysregulated, because it's a hormone at the end of the day, and it does affect our sex hormones. Our sex hormones affect the cortisol. So it's like a, how would I say, it's a catch 22 situation where you're trying to
Hmm.
catch one but you're missing the bus on the other one. So
Yeah.
with this hypnotherapy session, we would be able to control our cortisol levels also. We would be able to calm down our mind as well.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And do you feel that this also helps us to bring the levels of serotonin and our happy hormones, dopamine, also higher? Because what I realize is that during this transitional phase when our hormones are fluctuating, so this is interesting that estrogen is the one which helps us to bring our serotonin levels up. And we all, like women in their 40s or late 30s, must have noticed that suddenly out of blue you're fine, and then you get that dips, you don't know what's going on, and one moment your life is absolutely fine, and the next moment you feel, oh, nothing is working out for me, it's all a no dump show, all those kind of feelings, and it's all happening because of the fluctuating estrogen levels. And then, of
Hmm.
course, progesterone is also there. It's also another hormone which is impacting, which keeps us calm. And we start losing that calm. So I have noticed with myself that my capacity to multitask has come down quite a bit. I get overwhelmed when I have to multitask. For example, when I had to multitask now and go live on various platforms, I was like all hassled. My brain just stopped working for a few seconds, and I had to really calm myself down to come there. So doing hypnotherapy can help us to control all these emotions gradually, slowly?
Well, yes, it can. And a lot of people feel the effects immediately. For some
Mhm.
people, it takes a couple of sessions. But what I do is clearly I'm actively trying to work my way out of a job because I give people an audio after the first session. So many people listen to them. Some people don't necessarily do their homework. I can tell when I ask them. But the consistency and the just practicing the tools is extremely helpful. I've had people, clients who have had extreme anxiety to the point where I had one lady who couldn't leave her house. So I've had quite a few different types of clients and with phobias as well, like very severe phobias. And the anchor that I was telling you about was one of the greatest tools for these people dealing with this. And there's obviously a lot of other tools that I use. This is one that is I like it because it gives the person control. They don't have to wait until they come and see me again. It's something that they can actively do themselves. And I think that even that piece of it gives them the control. And I love that about it.
And I'm sure, like we all women who are there online right now, they can vouch for it. As we are aging, because we are losing control of what's happening inside us, you
Hmm.
want to get that control back. And I like that idea that this is in our control. That if you're feeling nervous, and if we've learned how to do that anchoring, whether it's clicking off your
Hmm.
fingers, snapping your hand, or whatever gesture that is that you would help us to understand in the therapy, can really put us in control. We will be able to manage it there and then. So I think it's a great tool. Again, another one thing which I've noticed with a lot of my menopausal and perimenopausal clients is emotional eating. That's also one aspect. Although I help them in this, and there are so many tools which are available, do you think clinical hypnotherapy can help in emotional eating as well?
Oh, 100%. I have a lot of clients that come to see me for that as well. So we, again, use very similar tools like this anchor that I mentioned. We use it not necessarily for relaxation, but we would use it for control, for example. And there's a number of different protocols that I use. And I see a comment here if it can help with brain fog and memory loss. It does as well. So obviously there's certain memory loss, like in hypnosis or in menopause and perimenopause. Um, that yes, but I've had clients come to me with blackouts where for different reasons. They've had blackouts, and in those cases, it does not work because when somebody blacks out, the center in their brain actually shuts off, and it doesn't take it like it's not functioning. So in those cases, no. But I don't think that's what we're asking here. But for menopause, the brain fog, memory loss, a lot of times, yes, it's the hormones, but also it could be the lack of sleep or lack of quality sleep.
Of
So
course.
it really depends on where it's coming from. But there's also protocols that I teach the people that I work with on what to do before they go to sleep so that they can go to sleep, kind of let go of the day. So a lot of it is also tied into somatics. So the stress and the stuck emotions, discomfort in your body, that sort of thing. It's an exercise where in your mind, you remove it from your body. I'm simplifying it, but it's very helpful for you go to sleep because then you can just let it go and there it is. And yes, it's more about missing out, taking kids to the party or a doctor's appointment. Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing about this is didn't we feel this way when we had kids? That brain fog and the lack of sleep and forgetting like putting different shoes on.
Yes, yes, yeah. And that time also, when you're new mom, again, your hormones are all over the place.
Mhm.
There are hormones which were supposed to not be there now, and they're declining, and then something different is happening. And it's all an interplay of less sleep, more worry. more of staying alert all the time. And I think it's very liberating for women to know that it's not their fault. So as Deepti has
Oh
mentioned,
no.
missing out on things or not taking kids for the party or any doctor's appointment, so it's not your fault. It's really related to whatever is happening inside a body. And if we can find tools to manage that, there are so many things which are available. There is HRT, which is available. Then there are meditation, and through nutrition you can do it. But even clinical hypnotherapy can really, really help. And it is simple and it is easy. So how long are the sessions usually?
Yeah. So typically the first one that I do is about 90 minutes,
Mhm.
and that's just to do the intake and because everybody's different, so everybody relaxes in a different way, right? Some people are analytical minds, some people are more spiritual, where they're fine with like different themes. So we figure that out. And so then we do the hypnosis session and take the feedback. So that's an hour and a half. But any subsequent sessions after that typically range from 45 minutes to an hour. And I can do that in person or over Zoom as well. The main thing is that you can hear me and that I can see you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
And
I have
yeah,
a very kiddish question. Please don't mind.
sure.
The
No, no,
moment,
no.
the moment you hear hypnotherapy, the first
Mhm.
thought which comes is as if I'm going to lose control. Somebody is
Oh,
going
no.
to have a control over me, or probably you've seen these movies where
On
you can
TV. Yeah.
snap fingers, you'll be all zoned out, and you don't know what's happening with you. Is it really like that?
You know, I always joke about this, and I think I've used this joke with you already, so just pretend like you're hearing it for the first time.
Okay.
But But if I could control people's minds, I would get my kids to do like all the chores and clean their rooms, and I would have gotten raises in my previous career, like all of that. So I would say the answer is no, um, because subconsciously, I can't make you do something that you don't want to do. I'm extremely confident in my skills and in my craft. However, there are times when it hasn't worked, and I can tell you exactly why. It was clients who didn't necessarily either believe that they could do it or that they actually wanted to change. And in some situations, it was, for example, stop smoking. There's a huge difference between someone coming and in and saying, "Yeah, I'm done with it, and I have all the reasons why I'm done with it," or someone coming in and saying, "My doctor told me I have to stop, and my wife doesn't like me smoking." Typically, in that case, unless the wife is making, or the husband or whoever is making the other person's life a living hell, and that makes them want to stop, um, then it's not going to work. They truly have to want the change. Like, I had a gentleman come in with a gambling, like a sports gambling problem, and it took one session. But I credit a lot to him because he came in and he was done. Like he said, my family is suffering. I'm not spending time with my son. Like, I'm done. And so a lot of it was, sure, it was me guiding him, but he did the heavy lifting. So I answered this in a roundabout way or a long way, but I can't make people do something they don't want to do. The moment that I would say something that didn't resonate with you, and to back up, this is why in the intake we go over things like how would you say things? What are words that you would describe how you want to feel? Or what scenarios, for example, would you find yourself in when you're feeling anxious? Like I go through all of these scenarios so that I'm using your vision and using your words the way that you would say it. The moment I would say something that I like, if I assume something, it wouldn't sound right to you. And I know this because when I was doing my program at the University of Toronto, I remember somebody assuming something and telling me to let go of, I can't remember what it was, and it just doesn't sound right. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't need to let go of this. This isn't even an issue. Or these words I would never use, and you just snap out of it. So your brain is a powerful thing. And I tell people as well is we go around practicing worst case scenario, right? We visualize, oh, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? Then we're nervous. Our body has a reaction to it,
Yeah.
right? But we can do the opposite through even another thing that I do is mental rehearsal. It sort of all falls into that bucket. And that's rehearsing the best case scenario or the scenario that you would like, how you're going to behave, how you're going to feel. And that is a whole other really cool thing too. So your brain is very powerful, and whether you think you can or you can't, you're right either way.
That's interesting. So, do you think you are going to be so when we are in a hypnotherapy session, is it our subconscious thoughts that we are trying to target? Is it that, would we say?
It's our, yeah, it's our subconscious wiring. So the thoughts, the subconscious, and so anything that is automatic, right? Because you don't think subconsciously,
Yes. Yes.
right? It's like it's a program.
Yeah.
And when someone's in hypnosis, when sometimes we do a regression, right? If somebody's had something happen in their childhood and that is important for us to tap into, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just enough to look forward. But sometimes there's that something in the past that
Yeah.
just keeps resurfacing and you just need to deal with that. But what that is people, would go in. It's like they're an observer, but they don't know where they're traveling to in their memory. Their subconscious holds all of the memories, everything that was entered into that journal that I mentioned earlier. And so sometimes people are blown away what came up for them. It's really fascinating. And during the session too, because I don't want to rush people when they're in those moments. And this is, I don't know, I've done it a million times and I'm still fascinated by it. I can get someone to communicate with me when they're in trance through a body movement, like through moving their foot. So I'll say, so in your mind or in your subconscious mind, do this task, or if it's in regression, tell the person what you would have wanted to tell them or whatever that is. And then I'll say, and give me a body movement or show me a body movement or like move your foot gently, for example, once you're done, and I'll know we can continue. And sometimes it'll take them a minute, sometimes it'll take them a couple minutes, but there's always that body movement. And when I first started, I remember thinking, how long should I wait? Like, have they fallen asleep?
Ah,
Like, what's going on?
yeah.
Um, and but always, it never fails. And sometimes you just have to wait a little while because for me, it might feel like forever. But for the person going on the journey in their subconscious mind, it might feel like seconds. So it's another really cool party trick.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
do you usually give some tips to your clients? Some. So right now, there are so many people who are online. Let's assume that sleep is a struggle for them. Do you have a tip up your alley which can help them to sleep better tonight? Maybe because what I understand is somatic breathing also comes in the same area, does it? So
It can. Yeah,
it.
yeah. So yeah, it's paired in hypnosis. It's paired with the visual. So one of the things that I would tell people, and maybe you all can try it tonight and let us know how it goes. But before you go to sleep, or as you're falling asleep, as you're relaxing,
Mhm.
pretend that you have some sort of a scanner. So whether it's like a golden light or an energy or just a knowing that goes from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes and back, and take out or just notice where you might be holding any tension in your body, maybe a little bit of discomfort, any maybe what might feel like a stuck emotion. Usually that feels like that tension. And once you've found it, give it like a shape, a color, a weight. Like just notice if it had a visual, what it would look like or what it would feel like. Because when we do that, our brain separates it from us. And so it's a lot easier to get rid of that. So when you give it that visual and then you visualize it, but like really in detail, notice it. And when you do that, just visualize it just disappearing, going away. So focusing your attention on that. And that's a really great thing to go to do before you fall asleep. It just takes, it takes the pressure from the day. It lets you go to bed fresh.
Fresh. Oh, that's interesting because what I usually do is when I'm not able to fall asleep, I usually do box breathing before sleeping.
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
helps me to kind of calm down. Being a working woman, and
Hmm.
especially in this phase of my life, I think my thoughts have horses on them the moment I hit the bed. I'm exhausted, but when I'm lying down there trying to close my eyes, the only thing I can think of is I did not do this, I have to do that tomorrow, and this and that. And I do box breathing. But what you just shared, I'm going to try it today and I'm going to
Hmm.
see. And I'm sure
Yeah.
it's going to help me because even when you were talking about it, just visualizing that process itself kind of, makes you feel a
Hmm.
little comfortable inside your body. And, you can
Hmm.
probably cut off some thoughts which I think every woman right now here on
Hmm.
online must be, most of them must be experiencing it. So
Yeah. Well, for sure. And it's I mean I've simplified it. So, obviously this is what I do. So if anybody's interested and experiencing this, like they can absolutely let me know. But the other example is, for example, we sometimes have that negative voice that says, "Oh, don't do this, you're not good at that," or "Don't even try," or whatever. So the other thing that I do with my clients is I get them to name it, and not necessarily consciously, but sometimes we do that in relaxation. So I'll ask them, if this voice had a name, what would it be? And so what that does is it's almost like that movie. I can never remember the name of it, where you have all those emotions. The kids movie, the
yeah, yeah.
Pixar.
What is that?
Um,
Yeah, it's the emotion movie. Yes, I remember that, but I don't
yeah,
know the name.
yeah. So it's sort of a similar idea, but if you can name it, then it's like almost like a separate piece. Because when we say, I can't do this, this is not going to work out, you're saying it to yourself. But what happens is when you give it an external identity, exactly like that nighttime exercise, inside out, that's the one.
Inside
Yeah,
Out. Yeah,
that's
thank
it.
you.
Yeah. So when you do that exercise, that your box breathing and then, that somatic release, it separates it. So it's not your own voice, it's not your tension. Your brain is then able to say, okay, and now we get rid of it. And when you have a name, you can even talk to it. And it's funny because I have a client who named her voice something. I think it's Steve. So sorry if anybody has a Steve in their life. But she just says, like, shut up, Steve. Like, she just, in her head, she does this and it makes her smile, but it works because it's not her voice, because most of the time what we carry, it's not ours.
Yeah.
The doubts, it's not us, right? It's something that would have been planted into our mind when we were growing up or whatever it is. And so when you recognize that and you name it as something else, your brain is then able to separate it from you, and it makes such a difference.
Oh, that's really nice. So somebody's asking, are your sessions available online
Yeah, yeah, I do in person and then over Zoom as well.
or Zoom as well?
Yeah, the May or FaceTime, whatever works for you. There's nothing confidential that we really talk about, so it's very different than counseling. But as long as you can hear me and I can see you, for those reasons that I was talking about. No, I wish it was covered by
Yes,
extended medical. There's some plans that do cover it, like under their health spending account.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
The same question that I get for nutritional services also. So sadly, in Canada, especially in BC, if I'm not wrong, in
yeah.
Toronto, in Ontario, you can still cover it up, but in BC, you cannot cover it under your extended
Yeah.
health.
I
Uh,
think in Alberta, I think Alberta is one of the only provinces where extended
Probably,
health covers
probably,
it, I believe.
probably Alberta. So you have to. So if you have those, I know some of the clients, they use that annual packages in which they have some $1,000 or $500 for self grooming. That is
Mhm.
what I am assuming can be used, because that's what I recommend my clients to use for nutritional services. I think for yours also it can be used.
Yeah, yeah. I do tell people though that, you know, we need to look at the bigger picture too, because, for
Yes.
example, if somebody does counseling, right? And counseling is fantastic, but I have a lot of counselors coming to see me, which is a little bit ironic, right? Because I had one that said, I'm done talking about it. So, and when someone comes to see me, it's like truly like if anything, it's maybe a handful of sessions and you're done. So it just, it's a bit of a trade-off. But I do have packages that make it more cost efficient for people as well. So there are options.
That's
The other thing that I did want to add though is that if um, like I am June 3rd, the Wednesday, I have a new cohort starting online. And that is helping people calm their thoughts, and it's a 4 week program, so one session per week, and then there's some tools as well, and it's a group program, so that might be an option for people as well.
so. The group is online, or do they meet
Mhm.
somewhere?
No, it's online. It's online, and then it's recorded. Yeah, so it's available like for the replay and things like that. So yeah,
That's
and it's lifetime access. So um, I add the cohorts to the group every time I do it. So once you bought access to it, everything in the future you're going to have access to in that topic, in that theme. Yeah,
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah, you're
Does
very
anybody
welcome.
have any questions for me or for Valerie? Anything? Any of the viewers? But this was very, very interesting session, because I have always felt a little nervous going to a hypnotherapist. Again, I would blame movies to it, nothing else. But this
It's all
was,
Hollywood's fault.
yeah,
Yeah.
of Hollywood, and being an Indian, Bollywood as well. You've not seen Bollywood movies, you would be
Mm,
surprised what all they show there. But it was interesting to know that, and it's such a nice tool to add. A lot of people, they are scared. Like, I do get clients, and they're scared of going through hormone replacement therapy, because again,
mm,
there's a lot of data which is available, and then there's a lot of confusion around that as well.
mm.
So this is something which is an easier tool to get hold on to, and it's not only I would say not only helpful during this phase, but also, in any other phase of the life when you're feeling
Anytime.
over anxious, overwhelmed. And in this
Mhm.
stressful world today, when there is war which is going on, inflation, there's so much which is happening around. If you want to get some support there, then you can get in touch with
Mm.
Valerie. She has a clinic in Delta. It's called Limitless Living Clinic.
In
Valerie,
Cloverdale. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, in Cloverdale, in
in,
Surrey. Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Can you put the details in the comment section here for us?
Sure.
Yeah, or if you
In
link to your
which
website, that
comment
would,
section?
any place you can put it, and then probably I'll
Oh,
share it
maybe I'll try this.
on my that also. So
Okay, I'm gonna try and put it into the StreamYard, I think. I don't know if that's
that
gonna
would be
work.
perfect. Yeah, that'll go on Facebook, and then I'll share it over the Instagram as well. And I'm going to learn this platform. I'm going to demystify this platform and understand it better.
Yeah, yeah. And one last thing I wanted to add too is I also deal with other like non-invasive, other various things to complement the hypnosis. So I'm happy to chat with anybody about how that looks like too, with
Yes,
the
guys.
neuro tools and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So get in touch with her. And if you have any questions, you can send it to me. You can chat with her. And yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much, Valerie, for your time
My
and for
pleasure.
the information that you have shared. It makes so much more sense. And this whole topic of perimenopause and menopause is so close to my heart, because I myself is going through it, and I know that being a nutritionist, studying nutrition and understanding everything, and still I find certain things, it's such a big question mark. Why is this happening to me? So
Mhm.
what all you shared today, and this tool is excellent. So thank you so much. And it
My
was
pleasure.
very nice having you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll see you all on the platform again.
Yes, we will. Thank you. Good night and bye bye.